This is Samuel Omega, engineering manager on my extreme left. Welcome again.
Thank you.
I hope you are comfortable.
Yeah. Very, very comfortable.
Okay. So when we talk about the Qualms group, what really is the Qualms group about? Okay. Any of you can take it.
All right. Let me have that. It's now Qualms group because it's not just one business unit like we started with.
Okay.
We actually started as Qualms Consult Limited. Okay. In 2007, where we basically focused on the food and manufacturing sector and improving the capacity of food exporters and all of that. So from that very humble base, we expanded, and now we have 4 additional business units. Okay, some of them are not really related. So now it's a group of companies with 5 different business units operating within.
Okay.
Yeah.
So since 2007,
exactly,
even in existence.
Yeah.
Is it a Ghanaian company or a foreign entity?
Qualms Group is a wholly owned Ghanaian company. Like I said, we started small, focusing on just a small sector, and then focusing also mainly on the free zones companies.
Okay.
Then we expanded from there, from outside Accra, and now we are all over West Africa.
I see.
Yeah.
So from Ghana, you're now in sub-region.
Yeah, we have a strong presence in Nigeria, in Sierra Leone, in Ivory Coast, and in Congo. We are opening an office in Liberia very soon.
I see. So, Mr. Omega, what exactly does Qualms Group does? What exactly do you do?
He is taking most of the QHSE side of it, and I'll take the engineering side.
Okay.
And then when it comes to the engineering side, we have various aspects of it. We have the technical staffing. When we talk about the technical staffing, we give expertise to companies that needs those expertise, let's say boiler makers, welders, fabricators, and all those things to do construction. And then we can also talk about the plant maintenance, where we go in to do maintenance on short basis. Let's say the plant will be shut down for a couple of days. We do the maintenance and then we get out. So we move in again when there's another time for the plant to also go down again. So it's a yearly thing. Every time, because you have a whole plant that you can't shut the plant down entirely. So you need to do it as a process. You shut one part of the plant down. You do whatever you are supposed to do. If the equipment changes, you need to do. You do, and then you move on. And then also we can talk about site construction. That is when we bring in a team. We call it EPCM, Engineering, Procurement, Construction, and Management. And then in that case, we are doing an entirely new construction, a new project. So the engineering work is done, the procurement work is done, the construction work, and that is where we come in to do the construction. We bring in our equipment. We work to the specification of the client to do all that we are told by the client to do. So basically, when it comes to the engineering side of Qualms, that is what we do.
Okay, and then
in terms of QHSE, like the name goes, Quality, Health, Safety, and Environment. What we do basically is to reduce the risk of our clients and also help them to meet international standards. It's a global world now. If you want to compete in the market, you need to produce to the set quality that people will find anywhere. So bringing it down, we do training for processing and manufacturing companies. We carry out audits and assessments, either in a catering environment, in a processing environment, or general quality management services. We also carry out assessment. We help companies to set up and to implement international standards. I mean, like I said earlier, let's take an example. If somebody is processing fruit here in Ghana, there are standards in food processing that if somebody buys processed fruits in, let's say, in the UK, and it's produced to a certain standard, he expects that when they come here, we also produce to that standard. Yeah, so there are a whole set of these standards in food safety and then also in quality management. So we help companies to implement these standards. We also help them to maintain it, because that's also a very vital aspect of it.
So since 2007, you've been in business. How many people are you working with?
In terms of?
In terms of your staffing.
Okay.
Not the other side, but from your end,
Okay.
how many people do you employ?
Our business style has always been to keep a core dedicated team to run, the core day-to-day businesses of the company.
Okay.
But what we have done is also to get on board consultants, people who are experts in their field. Some are even, employed in other companies and they have hands-on experience. So we signed, apart from our own in-house experts, we sign on a whole set of consultants from all around the world. There are times when you need a particular expertise that you can't find here in Ghana. So we work with several other companies who do what we do in the UAE, in the UK, in Egypt. And then when we don't have that expertise here, we bring them in. We always have a plan to get our team here to learn from these guys so that in the next job, they can also competently handle them.
So does that help in terms of your in terms of your overheads, your costs, for example? Does that help in any way?
Yeah, it does. As much as possible, we try to fall on our in-house personnel. Now, if you have a client who is demanding a certain standard or system that we don't have in-house expertise for that, even the nature of the standard alone tells the clients that he has to put in some more funding to get it done. And they don't have any problem, depending on the sector you are working with, they don't have any problem you bringing in the right person to do the job. It might not go as well, you might not make as much as you would have made if you use a local expertise. But for us, the other advantage is for us to also learn from people who are leaders in the business. That is how we have also been able to build our own capacity up to this point.
I see. How easy or how difficult has it been from 2007 to date, as a business entity? How has it been in terms of the terrain, in terms of, the projects you get to do and all the services you get to prove? How has it been?
Okay, I'll speak mainly on my sector and then Sammy will speak on the construction sector. I was there quite from the beginning and it hasn't been rosy. A couple of things worked against us.
Okay.
Starting from Ghana as our base, one of the main things that worked against us was the fact that the standards in our legislations are not enforced. If you have a system where you have rules, but the rules are not enforced, rules that deals with quality, safety, occupational health and all of that, then the people in industry are not under any obligation to come for these services, you understand? If you work, let's say if there's a noisy equipment in here, our health and safety law says that all the people who work here should have earplugs. You should check their health periodically to make sure that this place is not affecting their hearing. If nobody enforces it, then you are under no obligation to go and bring in an expert to check their hearing and all of that. So I would say that the fact that we don't enforce our laws was a very big hindrance for us, and it worked against us. From the beginning, the expertise wasn't there, so sometimes you get a job and all of the money goes into bringing in somebody to do it. But we had a plan to gradually build our capacity, learn from these guys. So in the beginning, we were just strategizing, but gradually we got in there. Now Ghana has expertise in almost, people still think that we don't have people here who can. I tell you, we have people who have all the training, all the qualifications in the mines, in the manufacturing sector. If you look well, you find them, you'll be able to work with them.
I see. So if you look at the construction and the engineering sector as well, what are some of the challenges that the company like Qualms has gone through?
Well, nobody at the beginning believed in us. It's always been the foreign companies basically taking up most of the jobs in Ghana or doing most of the construction jobs. But with the experience that's I've acquired working in the mines, we sat down to develop a plan as to how we'll also be able to go in and then do some of the jobs. It wasn't rosy. We needed to go in slowly, get a few things to do at the beginning, and then gradually they gain confidence in us that, listen, this is a Ghanaian company. Instead of bringing in foreign expatriates to come and do some of these jobs, you have them here, you have the locals here who can equally do the same thing that expatriates will come in to do. So we build on that leverage, and then we started going up.
I see.
But then we also needed to make sure that on any project we went on, we left a mark there for other people to also come and say that, oh, okay, these guys, these are local companies. This is a local company that can equally do the job that an expatriate company will do.
I see.
Yeah, so
I see.
we built on that, and then we decided we should venture doing other things in the West African sub-region. So we moved to Sierra Leone. We got the opportunity there as well because they didn't have the kind of expertise we have because of whatever happened in the past. So we were brought in to do a few jobs. And then later on, we're also given more opportunities. But what we also went in to do that we were accepted in that country was also to do local content.
I see.
Because once we got in there, we will be leaving at the end of the day, the project, the construction phase of the project will
left with the locals.
Yeah. So we train the people, let's say 10 is to 5, 10 Ghanaians and then 5 locals. And then we'll make sure that we'll have to train them to our standard before the construction phase of the project is over. So they can take over from us once we leave. So that is how we manage to build our.
So that is strategy that you've used to enter
into the other
markets.
Yes.
Not to be selfish, but
not to be selfish,
share.
Yeah, to share in our expertise. Yes.
With the locals.
Yes.
I see.
So we've done that. We've done that in Sierra Leone. We've done that in Liberia.
I see.
We are yet to do that in the Congo. Congo, we are now entering into the Congo. So all we are doing now is just go and do the project, but gradually we will have a base that we will start our local content in there as well.
I see, but at least you've done that in Sierra Leone so far. You've done that in Liberia as well, where you use local content as well and build the capacity.
Exactly.
I see. That means it's easy for you to enter a market because then you are telling the people we are not just doing the job and leave, but then you would get the people, to that standard as well. That's what you are doing.
Exactly.
Is it applying to both the quality health and safety, or only the engineering side?
No, it's straight for Qualms Group.
Everywhere.
Everywhere when it comes to the.
You see, you need to assure the people who live where you're going to work that you're not just coming in to take their resources and leave. And when you go with a strategy like my brother explained, it makes it easier for people to accept you and to work with you. So that's one of the things we've done so well. Just to add to the challenges he was talking about in the construction sector, initially we didn't have equipment. I mean, construction goes with a lot of equipment. It's very expensive to get your own set. Otherwise, you need to be falling on others, which will take a lot from you. So that was a big challenge for us in that sector in the beginning. But I'm happy to say that we've been able to go far beyond that challenge, and now we have our own set of equipment, from the very smallest tool you need to the very biggest construction equipment.
How did you do that? Did you get financing from the banks or internet generated, or how did you?
Not really, but then we did a collaboration with an Australian company called Jody Construction.
Okay.
So we came up like a JV. We give the expertise, and in turn, after the construction had ended, what we got out of that was the equipment. So we have equipment worth over $800,000, from cranes to
tipper trucks
to anything that you can imagine when it comes to mechanical construction.
And that's did you get any help locally in terms of?
No, we haven't gotten any help locally when it comes to finance.
I see.
It's one of the things we it's so difficult when it comes to the banks helping us as a small company, but then
that's interesting. But look at the fact that the fact that you guys have come far, have done well, and entering other markets, shouldn't you be attractive enough to a local financing company to be able to extend credit or something of some financing to you?
I mean, all we've been talking about now is the challenges we faced in the beginning. When you are still finding your feet, it's very difficult for people to look through what you are seeing and then give you the needed support. But once you have a strategy and you bring yourself up to a certain standard, and now you have the banks chasing you. And I mean, in a week you can have about 4 banks representatives passing by our office wanting to do our bankers.
Give you money for you.
I mean, last week we had a meeting with our finance manager, with one of the bankers who have now come in to say that any project that we have and we need money to fund it, they are prepared to do so. So the difficulty is how to get there. Okay, so if you hadn't put up the strategy that initially we won't quickly munch our profits, but we'll use it to develop ourselves to get somewhere, then it becomes very difficult to build up. But once you get there, then everybody is chasing you, and the up-and-coming ones are always ignored. That's a very big challenge.
I see. It's interesting because sometimes you would think that since you are beginning and this is your focus, you would get some help, some of the finance companies, knowing that, look, if we take them, we take you seriously, we can build a longer-term relationship. It seems they only come in when you've weathered the storms and you've come
when
out.
Everything is cooked.
That's when they seem to come in.
They seem to be a lot more worried about the risk. You don't have a profile. You've not been able to do anything big that they could fall on to say that, okay. But I mean, sometimes you should be able to examine how organized the person is, what plan the person has, and still see.
But did you approach any financial institution?
Oh yeah, I mean, we did. I mean, severally. I mean,
but none of them was willing.
Exactly. So we had to now look elsewhere. Like he was saying, go into projects where your focus is not to make profit, but to get equipment
out of the
You
project.
understand? I mean, you go into projects, your focus is not to make profits, but just to bring in an expertise so that your people can also learn from them. Then in future, they can now use that expertise to make you the money.
So you don't get the physical funds, but you end up with experience that is worth probably more than the money you get in equipment that you couldn't have bought outright by yourself if you were to do that.
That's the strategy.
I see. So if you then look at the kind of people you have in-house, you think they have the kind of standard that you're looking for that meets international standards as well?
Yeah, I mean, now we have, I mean, in terms of human expertise, we have it to the very top. In my sector, for instance, I was supported by the company to go do a master's in that field, an MSc in the UK in safety, health, environment. Just focus on that sector. The company sponsors its people to do short courses to build their capacity. We deal with standards. So you always have to make sure that the people you are putting in a job meet that set standard.
And understand
exactly
that as well.
So in QHSC now we have a whole lot of, I mean, very qualified people who can do any work in quality, health, safety, and environment. Now we've also become attractive, and we can attract very competent people in the mining sector. I mean, there are people who are working in very prominent places, but they're still always checking on us and they want to work with us. So that's how we also get very, I mean, experienced people from the mining sector to join us. So for now, it's as well.
I see. Now, if you look at the company like Qualms, what is the way the next, how do I say, the next phase of it? What is Qualms looking to do? Expansion and all that. What is the next phase for Qualms Group?
Okay, I mean, some already
for both the quality, the quality side, and then the engineering and construction side. Okay,
some hinted earlier on some new expansions that we are doing. Our vision has always been to become a leader.
Okay.
In the sub-region, in West Africa at least, a leader in the kind of services we provide, that we can match any other service provider anywhere in the world. And I mean, in the past 7 years, we've proven that we can actually get there, starting from just within Accra, expanding to other parts of Ghana, and in 4 or 5 African countries now. That's the vision, not to limit ourselves
to only Ghana.
Yeah, and also not to limit ourselves to the standards here, because the standards may not be enforced here, and they might be quite on the low side. But to do everything to the very high standard. That is how we are looking at them. I'll leave Sam to talk about the other offices we want to open in other African countries.
Yes. I'm interested. I've noted that Liberia and Sierra Leone came out of war. Congo has also come out of, well, I don't know if they're even coming out of their situation. But it seems your interest is more on those countries.
Well, we didn't have the plan that people should go into war in anything, but then we sat down and then analyzed what we can do for countries with those resources that probably, if you bring in expatriate companies from, let's say, outside Africa, they will just come in, do the work, and then leave. So we took the advantage on making sure that they feel our presence, and then their people also, in turn, get some job to do. So that is the strategy we've been using so far.
So you're in Liberia, you are in Sierra Leone, you are going to Congo.
Yeah, we are going to Congo.
Any other, plans for any parts of the
yeah,
continent as well?
we are looking at a combined office between Burkina Faso and Mali. The reason being that those two countries are French-speaking countries, so we want to have an office because there are upcoming projects over there as well. And once we be accepted in some of these countries, and then it's big recommendation from the other people who've done jobs for. They will tell you that, okay, I think we can move in with you guys onto our face in another country, let's say in Burkina Faso. So there are plans to have just a small presence at the moment in Burkina Faso and then in Mali as well.
Is the language a barrier?
Language, yes. Because we don't speak French. But then once we get to that stage, we'll bring in people who speak French, and then the bilingual people who help us enough to be able to establish properly.
So what excites me is the fact that you don't take everything on yourself to do, but where there's a need to bring in somebody who can bridge the gap, you always bring them. Because you don't speak French, your company doesn't speak, but at least when there are French projects and you need people like that, you look out for them. And doesn't matter whether they're coming from Ghana or anywhere. Well, for example, somebody who would be able to speak the French and English, for example, you look for a Ghanaian, or as long as the person is from the continent, you pick and use them.
You see, as a company operating, a base from Ghana, we always look into Ghana as a first choice, but there are certainly other considerations. Of course, if you are going into a new terrain, you need somebody who knows the terrain.
The culture.
Yeah, sometimes it pays to do with somebody who knows the environment, culture, and even how to manage the people. It's different. The habit of francophone people might be different from
not right. It is
trying to be charitable with yeah.
It is different.
So sometimes it's a careful choice you make, okay, in getting somebody who is in there, who understands the terrain. To once they can fit into our vision and mission, we work with them.
I see. I see. Well, for me, it's exciting. When I see young people doing that well, in spite of the challenges that they may face, in running their businesses. But for me, I'm particularly excited about what Qualms Group is doing. But we'll take a short break, and we'll come back. We'll delve a little bit more into some other things with them, and then we'll call it a day. But for now, take a short break. We'll be right back.
Do you know that there are more successful people in Ghana today than before? Well, that is the truth. And the secret is in prudent financial planning with the right financial manager. You need to know the right fund manager who spends your money 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 4 weeks in a month, and 12 months in a year. That manager is at Gold Coast Fund Management. At Gold Coast, your money never sleeps. It revolves every second to give you more money for use when you really need it. For the past 21 years, Gold Coast Fund Management has held a strong reputation of spending people's money to beat inflation, depreciation, and treasury bill rates. Put your money to work. Move from savings to investment. Pay your investment tithe into the gold fund